Hey YouTube, what's up? Robert here again. Just got done with my third session. Uh, this one was tough, man. I feel like I'm being just like scooped, scooped out, man, from the bottom. Um, this session really delved into his childhood and the questions that my therapist asked was like, man, you know, I don't want to speak ill of the dead. I don't want to talk ill of my mom. You know, like a lot of black people out there that describe their parents that, kind of grew up under the rule of like old school parenting. We all say the same thing, I would think. It's like they did the best that they could with the circumstances that they were given. My mom had her own share of abuse that she experienced as a kid. She was inappropriately touched by her biological father. She witnessed like a lot of abuse between her stepfather and her mother. She was forced to grow up real fast. At 15, she had my older brother. And she went through a lot of abuse just throughout her entire life. And I think that poured over into how she raised me and my brother, and a couple of my cousins too. She didn't really have a good structure of guidance to be able to be a normal functioning adult. And shit, neither did I. I found it out today. I ain't even, I feel like I've been, my entire life, I feel like I just been, I feel like I just been running, man, from one fire to the next. It's like in The Walking Dead, where it's like you just don't have time to grieve. You got to pick up and keep moving, because if you stop, you're gonna get fucking eaten by zombies. So that's been my entire life. I'm used to operating like that, and talking to my therapist is just like, he was like asking, who did you have to talk to? Who did you have to look up to? Who was like a positive role model in your life? Can you remember the first positive role model you ever had? Can you remember particularly a positive male role model that you had? And I legitimately had to take time to think about it, because my daddy, he was there every now and again, but he wasn't there as much as I would have liked him to be. But I loved him. I loved both my parents. I lived primarily with my mom, and living under her was like walking on eggshells, man. You ever see the movie Goodfellas? My mom was Joe Pesci. My mom was, we could be watching something and something funny, and she could say something funny in response to what one of the characters on the TV says. And if I said like, "Oh, Mom, you so silly," man, that turned into silly. Silly like how? Silly like what? A clown? I amuse you? Well, and I would just feel in the back of my neck that I was about to be hit, And he would ask, like, how did that make you feel? Like, when do you feel like you were able to first talk to your mom? Like, without fear? Like, how long have you lived in fear? I was like, shit, all my life in terms of living with her. It's like, well, from what age to what age? Like, I was like, well, I didn't really become cognizant, I don't think, of it until I was maybe 5 years old. So he's like, what, from what age to what age then? I was like, well, shit, I guess from 5 to 18. So he's like, for 13 years you lived in fear. Never thought about it like that. Never thought about it like that. And it just, my mom was a hard person. And she had to be. She had to have a tough exterior because of everything that she was subjected to. She had to be strong. She had to be tough. She was raising 2 boys. She took in 2 of my older cousins. And she had to be strong. And that, unfortunately, didn't allow her to be the best parent she could have. The world, she didn't know how to react to how cruel the world was to her. And I think that's also my problem too. But yeah, she did this thing where she didn't want to have any conversations with her children. She didn't want to get mushy. She didn't want to get emotional. She didn't want to. My mom was like a worker bee. My mom would work her ass off. She'd work 13-hour shifts, come home, go to sleep, wake up, go back to work, come home, go to sleep. I mean, it was a constant cycle. When she was off work, she was cleaning, she was cooking. There was no, mother-son talks. There was none of that until she got hurt at work. And I was 13. And that's when she first started opening up to me about who she was and her history. And, we had a few cries, we had a few laughs. We bonded in that regard in ways that even I have an older brother who's like 8 years older than me. Even they didn't get a chance to talk like that. And all the stuff my mom told me she had been through, I understood. I understood why she was the way she was, but man, he asked me, it's like, what do you think that impact is? What do you think the impact is on a child who's subjected to that? You have no guidance. You're subjected to feeling like you're walking on eggshells. You feel like any little thing you say can result in you being physically beaten. Like, what do you think that results in a child's psyche and their emotional development? It's like asking if my mom ever said anything verbally to me that, was like discouraging. I was like, yeah. She'd call me stupid. She'd say my stupidity would get somebody killed one day. And he asked, how many times do you think she said something like that to you? It's like, I don't know. It's like, give me a number. Like, he really pushed me today to be as specific as I possibly could. And I was like, shit, I don't know, anywhere between. He's like, well, it's 365 days a week. So, 365 days a year. So, sorry, y'all. Stupid. He's like, so how many times? I said, well, maybe anywhere between 100 to 1,000. I don't know. Throughout my life with her. But I don't blame her. I don't blame her for anything. I really do feel like we're all born good.